Hello, my name is Madison Cho and welcome to our show. Today we're going to be talking about the Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary Controlled Applications Act, commonly referred to as the TikTok bill in the mainstream media. The media has framed this bill in various ways, and we're going to take a deeper dive into how this has impacted the audience's opinions on it.
The House voting to effectively ban the hugely popular social media app TikTok in the United States if it doesn't divest from its Chinese parent company.
Okay, everyone, the TikTok bill has made its way through the House. Let's go right to Julie Sirkin. What happened? What are the results?
Tonight, TikTok, the closest it's been to a national ban, becoming a reality.
Bill requiring China tech giant ByteDance to divest TikTok, potentially leading to the popular social video app's ban in the U.S. as
TikTokers taking to their cell phones to literally call on Congress to shoot down a bill that could effectively ban the wildly popular app.
Tonight, the battle to ban TikTok intensifying in Washington, with House leaders confirming they'll vote next week on a bill that would effectively ban the app.
Now get this, by signing the bill today, Biden has also approved a measure that would force TikTok's China-based parent company, that's ByteDance, to sell the platform within a year or be banned in the United States.
Beware. Today, a House committee voted on a bipartisan bill that could effectively ban the app.
Social media app is urging some of its 170 million users in the U.S. to protest this new bipartisan bill that would potentially ban the app nationwide.
Struck a passionate divide in Washington on a bill to force the sale of TikTok away from its 20% Chinese ownership.
Lawmakers were flooded with complaints after TikTok asked users to protest legislation that could lead to a nationwide ban of the social media app.
There is bipartisan agreement, at least in the lower house, that TikTok is a risk to national security. And on Wednesday, a bill which could see a national ban on the app received overwhelming support.
Congresswoman, what do you see, and we've talked about this before, what do you see as the potential threat from TikTok here?
TikTok has become a cultural phenomenon known for its viral trends, dance challenges, and short-form videos. In 2022, the app has surpassed over 3 billion downloads with over 1 billion active users each month. Despite growing popularity, there have been serious concerns over the handling of user data and potential foreign influence. ByteDance, an internet company based out of Beijing, China, is a majority stake owner of this TikTok. The company's ownership in China has been a source of controversy over the threat of the Chinese government manipulating the platform's content to spread propaganda. In 2020, former President Trump tried to ban the app through an executive order, citing concerns over national security, but the attempt was blocked by a federal judge. Over the next few years, talks of banning TikTok became prevalent among lawmakers in Congress. In March of 2024, the House of Representatives introduced the Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary Controlled Applications Act, commonly referred to as the TikTok bill. The bill was sponsored by Mike Gallagher, a Republican representative from Wisconsin. The act protects the national security from threats posed by foreign adversary controlled applications such as TikTok and any successors developed by ByteDance Ltd. It prohibits the distributing, maintaining, or providing internet hosting services for a foreign adversary-controlled application. The bill directly targets ByteDance and TikTok, but also any social media company controlled by a foreign adversary the president deems as posing a significant threat to national security. However, the prohibition does not apply to apps used to post reviews or travel information. The bill requires the covered application to provide users with all available account data at the user's request. The act quickly made its way through the House, receiving bipartisan support with a 352 to 65 vote. As of recently, the bill was passed in the House and was awaiting decision in the Senate. If passed, President Biden vocally stated he would sign the bill into law.
Banning TikTok, would you sign that bill?
If they pass it, I'll sign it.
The mainstream media has framed the Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary Controlled Applications Act in various ways. William Gamsum defined framing as a central organizing idea for making sense of relevant events and suggesting what is at issue. Reporter Alana Powell sat down with Associate Professor Dr. Mike Horning in Virginia Tech School of Communication to talk about how the media's framing of the TikTok bill impacts public opinion. Dr. Horning is an expert and researcher on how social media and communication technologies affect social attitudes.
Why do you think the media tends to simplify complex legislative measures like the Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary Control Applications Act into catchier headlines such as the TikTok ban bill?
Well, I mean, a lot of these things are complicated, right? I mean, and that's part of the job of the media, to make it simple enough for everybody to understand. But, you know, to your point, I think a lot of this stuff is very complicated, and when they simplify it so much, then people kind of think, well, what's really going on here? And that's part of the problem with something like TikTok. But
how do you think the media's framing of the bill as primarily targeting TikTok impacts public discourse and perceptions regarding the national security and social media regulation?
The way it was written was something like any foreign adversary, you know, could be looked at, and then it said, for example, TikTok. And I think that doesn't set the government up for saying, look, we're kind of like writing a content neutral kind of piece of legislation. I think they may get some, you know, resistance from the fact that, like, why are you singling out a specific company? So there's kind of, you know, there's some good and bad about the way that they went about it. But
I think it's just really like how they're mainly singling out TikTok, especially through like mainstream media. It's getting people fired up about the whole TikTok thing, but it's a lot of people aren't realizing that it doesn't just include TikTok. It's about a lot more control than people think it is.
Yeah. If any future social media company came along, let's say, you know, something comes along that was created in North Korea, for example, this piece of legislation would apply to that if the government decided to pass it. It just happens to be that TikTok's like the only one right now.
Why do you think the government and the media are so eager to ban or discuss the ban of the foreign adversary-controlled social media platforms when Facebook and Instagram both have had the same data and privacy issues?
Mm-hmm. Well, they've, you know, Facebook's probably breathing a sigh of relief a little bit that they're not under scrutiny right now, because in the past they have been. You know, Facebook has been under a lot of scrutiny for the fact that it has used its data in ways that have potentially influenced our political processes and things like that. I think the difference is, in the mind of a congressman at least, I think the difference is that when American companies are doing questionable things, that's not quite at the level of risk.
What impact do you think increased scrutiny and regulation of foreign adversary-controlled social media platforms could have on digital innovation and the broader technology industry?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a good question, because I don't think probably pushing, banning a company has positive effects on innovation. You're going to have social media companies like TikTok. If, let's say, they ban it, what's TikTok going to do? Is it going to give the United States its proprietary information about its algorithms? Probably not. So that innovation is going to leave the country, you know.
So this video, it's opinions from creators on TikTok that are going to be affected by the ban if it goes through. And I just kind of wanted your opinion about, because a lot of the mainstream media isn't focusing on this. It's very limited as to who's talking about how it's going to affect the creators. So I just wanted you to watch the video and get your opinion on it.
This app is so much more than just an app for dumb TikTok dances. So when I hear these elected officials literally mock and make fun of TikTok and its creators, I'm disgusted.
The message that I really want to get home to the American government and everybody that is trying to pass this bill is, you will be destroying small businesses like us. This is our livelihood. If you pass this bill, you will be destroying the American dream that we really believe in.
Let's say a company like, or a country like Russia or China decides, what we really want to use TikTok to do is to make Americans lose all their faith and trust in the democratic system, right? If that could work, then a creator saying, I want to have my ability to create, doesn't matter anymore, because you don't have a country to create in anymore, right? So that's one way to think about it, right? I'm empathetic with it, but I also think it's sort of short-sighted. I understand too where they're coming from. But you just got my Media and Society lecture a couple weeks from now, so.
Thank you, Alana and Dr. Horning, for providing more insight on how the mainstream media has targeted specific frames and the impact on the public's perceptions. Reporter Brooke Van Buren is in the field to share more about a different way the media has framed this legislation.
The mainstream media framed this TikTok ban bill using specific words and phrases, but it also framed it by excluding information too. Most likely in an attempt to simplify the legislation, they named it the TikTok ban bill, but it doesn't refer to solely TikTok. It actually refers to any foreign adversary-controlled application the president deems as unsafe. According to Kuipers in 2002, framing by omission can be described as failure to report information that would contradict the press's own point of view or that would harm the standing of those with whom the press sympathizes. Even if the media includes that the bill is not just about TikTok, it is typically at the very end of the story, while TikTok is bolded throughout. Some may argue that the media is focusing on TikTok because that is what will gain viewers. We went to Blacksburg to ask locals what they know about the bill and if they know that it's not just about TikTok.
What media do you consume?
Mostly TikTok.
New York Times. New York Times. NPR. NPR. PBS.
I have Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Snapchat, all the basic ones, I feel like.
I do mostly blogs for news media, so and then kind of newspaper like the New York Times, for example.
Instagram?
Yeah, probably Instagram, but I go online.
I use
like,
Facebook
sites.
personally.
TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram.
Fox News, CNN. I'm all over the place, so I like getting my news from various sources.
I get my news mostly from YouTube. Do you know anything about the TikTok ban bill?
I know that they snuck it in by paper clipping it to other bills, which was kind of a sneaky way of doing that.
They're owned by a Chinese company called ByteDance, and Congress wants them to separate from ByteDance or else be banned.
I mean, it's banned on like Virginia Tech's campus, so if that's what you're referring to, that's like all I really know about is that like you can't open the app on their Wi-Fi.
I know that people are worried about Chinese influence on people that view TikTok. This is typically directed toward younger people.
I'm not sure how it works because I think I can use it with the school's internet. I don't know, but like sometimes it bugs out.
Almost next to nothing. I know they're getting rid of it. Other than that, not a lot.
Here there was something about like banning TikTok from like universities like Virginia Tech. So yeah, that's about it. Did you know that it is also applied to other foreign-owned social media companies? It's not just TikTok?
No, I didn't know that.
No, I didn't know that. I didn't know that either.
I don't know.
Harry?
I did not know that.
Oh,
No, we didn't know
What's
that.
an example? Like, no, I did not actually.
No, I had no idea.
Bias by omission is very evident in the mainstream media's coverage of this legislation, and we have seen through asking people in Blacksburg how it impacts their knowledge of the bill. Reporting in Blacksburg, I'm Brooke Van Buren.
Thank you, Brooke. Not only has the media not included pieces of information about the bill, such as the fact it is not solely about TikTok and any foreign adversaries, but the mainstream media has also chosen to not focus on how American-based companies also pose a threat to national security. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg has faced heavy scrutiny in the past over the app's handling of user data and spread of fake news. In 2018, Zuckerberg answered 600 questions in front of the Senate over Facebook's lenient regulations and allegedly allowing Russia to interfere with the presidential election. Several American companies have been known to mishandle users' personal data and raise privacy concerns such as Google, Twitter, Apple, and Amazon. However, Congress has not passed any real legislation to protect American citizens from potential threats caused by domestic corporations. It is clear that the Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary-Controlled Applications Act has been presented in many different ways by the mainstream media, impacting the audience's viewpoints. We saw how the media's framing by omission hinders locals' ability to fully understand the legislation and make an opinion about it, and how the media named it the TikTok bill, even though the bill is not solely about TikTok. Gamsom's definition of framing allows us to see that the bill is the relevant event that the media is making sense by leaving out information, creating a shorter title for it, and using specific terms to talk about it. Reporting from Blacksburg, I'm Madison Cho.